Hello
Hello
again.
again. We're
Welcome,
back.
everybody. Oh, thank you for joining us again, everyone. Take two. Now,
We're going
welcome.
again.
We're going again. Welcome, Shabs. Welcome, Beck. Thank you, everybody, for joining us again. So, this is take two. Now, we did actually just riff for 10 minutes on our dream bookshop. So, if you missed that, I'm sorry for you because it was magic. So we're definitely just maybe going to do an hour on creating all together collectively our dream bookshop. And you can all
Yeah.
get involved, all of you. We're all invested in this.
And then one day in the future, we'll get a picture drawn of what it'd look like.
Yes. And that will actually secretly be the plan for the real thing.
Yeah.
Slowly, as we become
We'll just
millionaires,
drop little
obviously.
breadcrumbs.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll make it for real, obviously.
hmm hmm
Just a
With a
matter of time.
destination.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh.
now the black rectangle has appeared. The
Oh
buffering
no.
appeared. Scott, can we get your photo, your picture, your face?
Yes,
Can you?
fingers crossed. Let's see.
Okay, we can hear you at least.
Well, that's half the battle.
It is hard to
It
battle.
is.
Yeah.
Okay, this is very frustrating.
Oh no. Has your voice gone? Or can we still hear you? Yeah, I think his voice is gone.
Yeah, I think it might have.
Now, I wonder what could be causing that, because he's all right for a second, isn't he? And then he disappears. Hmm.
Yeah. I'm not actually too sure. That's never happened.
No, it hasn't, has it? All right. So the only thing that I can think of is maybe to try and see if we can just do his voice, which is a shame.
Yeah.
A lovely, friendly face. But is there a way of maybe trying to just do voice? Scott?
Maybe if you turn off the camera, that might turn off the interference.
Yeah. Scott, do you want to try turning off the camera maybe? The book slag Emporium funders are breaking the internet. Yes, Beck, you're right.
You get it.
You get it. And we just need about 1 million more people to get it, and then we'll be absolutely fine.
We won't need any more money.
Exactly. But you look after the pennies and then
The pounds
sponsor.
look after themselves.
That's right. That's what I meant. Yeah, exactly. All right. What should we do? Shall we give it one more go? Is this what we
Yeah,
need? Scott, do you want to come out and come back in again? Is that maybe the thing to do?
I'm going to
How
put
does
it
it
in the
work?
chat just in case he can't hear us either.
Yeah, good idea. And let's see if that works. Scott, very frustrating. So sorry. Let me check my Instagram settings. Okay. So he's going to check his
Okay,
Instagram
doke.
settings and
Okay,
see.
fab.
Now, let me see if I can actually access him here. This might be a good idea. Okay, no, I can't. All right, never mind. All right, so I think we should just carry on imagining this imaginary bookshop.
Okay.
So
What snacks would you have on sale?
snacks. Okay,
Because a
so
snack is
immediately
essential.
it is essential. It's as essential as the drink. I like the
Mm-hmm.
fact that you've mentioned coffees. What else did you say? You said cocktails.
Matcha, iced lattes.
Um, so we've got tea, we've got coffee, we've got lattes, but I think we also should have
Yeah.
cocktails as well, just to mix it up.
Oh,
Um,
a nice summery pina colada. Yeah.
exactly. Some spritzes, keep it classy.
Mm-hmm.
Shabs wants a full cafe. So I think if we're going to go with snacks, I think cake is essential because if you have cake, then Balvinda Sopal will come. Okay, that's all she needs is books, coffee, and a cake, and
Just a
she's
little
anyone's.
breadcrumb.
Yeah,
Just
some
follow the
cake crumbs.
crumbs.
Yeah, yeah. And
A
she will
mad
be
pie to cake, bless her.
exactly. Oh, and Shab says, I want book recommendations for each dish and cocktails for the secret garden. Oh, yeah, because she said if
Oh,
we're going to have a magic wardrobe that goes somewhere, it should lead to the secret garden, of course.
I
But I
love
think
that.
mainly it should lead each time to a new magical place because obviously we've got Narnia as well, but we've got the Lord of the Rings, we've got the Shire in the Lord of the Rings.
Do you know what I
Um,
enjoy? Like this little thing being Alice in Wonderland themed.
yes.
Like in the little cupboard, and it's like you've gone into this mad little world.
Yeah, I love that. I went to a music festival called the Secret Garden Party a long, 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 long
Mm-hmm.
time ago. And it was Alice in Wonderland themed. And it was
Ooh.
absolutely amazing. It was just magical. Like they thought of every little detail. And so I think this could be a really good idea. Beck says different
Ooh.
rooms or areas with different themes, which is lovely. Now I like that because then it wouldn't just be genres, it would be themes,
Mm-hmm.
which
Oh,
is
I
nice.
like it.
Yeah, and
Like
I
for the
thought
dark
something
romance area, it can be all like chainy, dark, red, black. The romance light, fluffy, pinks and purples, and like
love
love
it.
hearts everywhere.
Yeah, and for the crime scenes, you've got like detective things,
Crime
whatever they're
scene
called.
tape.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go. That's what I meant.
yeah. The little what are they called? Like them little cones that they put by evidence, that
Oh
stuff.
yes, those
Yeah,
things.
by the different bookshelves.
Yeah, magnifying glass.
Oh
Do they
yeah.
still use those? I don't know. I'm not sure.
We
Oh,
can.
and yeah, like a book crawl within a book crawl. Yeah, that's a lovely idea. And Shab said, can I make and recreate meals from different books and put them on the menu? Of course you can.
Yes.
Definitely. And we can have, like in Alice in Wonderland where it says eat me and drink me, you could have the little signs like that. There you
Oh
go.
my God, yeah. And we could have little loyalty cards that by the time you've bought a book from each of the sections, if you're being a diverse reader, you can get a free drink and a coffee.
Amazing. Perfect. It's all coming
Amazing.
together. Like,
Incentives. They're coming
yeah.
in.
Exactly. I love this. And I thought we know that most bookshops are divided into genres, but what about um tropes instead? So if you want to read a book that is enemies
Oh,
and lovers, then you've got a whole section which is tropes, that trope.
I love
Except
that.
yeah,
I
I
love
think we
that.
can go that way.
Like a
Love.
even like a romance only bookstore. I think I would want to have like a wide variety, but a romance only one with the different rooms for the different tropes would be so cool. Like ex-boyfriend's dad in one room and then like found family in another, and like all these wild tropes, hockey romance and
Oh
just
my goodness.
everything.
I love
And the
this.
hockey romance one, the floor's like ice,
Of course it is.
like
And we've got
tile
loads of,
floor.
yeah, and dry ice just like
Yeah,
around. Oh my goodness.
you know. And you can
This
get
is
like when you
great.
go bowling, you can get ice shoes to go in
I love
to
it.
drink your
This
coffee.
is
That's it.
so good. Oh my goodness. Okay, more, more. I want more. Like maybe, oh, I know, maybe there could be like a Mediterranean section and it just smells of oranges and lemons,
Oh,
like basil, something like that.
yeah. Oh, I'd be in that one all the time. I'd be like, just this smells so good.
Yeah, like orange lighting, just
Hmm.
sunshine. Oh my
Hmm.
goodness, I like that. Beck says we'll need a whole little street of shops with different themes. You're right. Okay, I've got it now, Beck. You're right. Because instead of just one bookshop, we're going to have a lovely street, which is just a street of little bookshops, but not those mega big ones, just little like boutique ones.
Hmm.
And each one is a different genre with different areas for different tropes, different menus and snacks that Shabs will create, and we're going to
Hmm.
take over the whole street. This
The
is what's
library
happening.
road.
The library road. Oh my
I'm
goodness.
so here for this.
Yeah. This is just a yes. And of course, as well as wardrobes that lead into different worlds, which change each time depending on your literary preferences, we will also have secret alleyways and secret passages that lead from one bookstore to the other, and
Oh,
attics as well, and things like that. And so it's just going to be an adventure every time you go in the building.
I want to go there now.
Shab says a whole Bookslag Street. Yeah, Scott
Yay!
is
We're
here.
sorry
Welcome,
about that.
Scott. That's
Oh,
okay. Scott, we have had the most magical 20 minutes just riffing about our dream bookshop. So you did us a favor.
That's so great. I got to hear little bits of it, so I'm very excited. It's
Good. Now
nice
this
to.
is where you're going to tell us later about the reality of running a bookshop, which, I don't know if we're ready to hear because it's been a
Yeah,
dream so far.
not as much sparkle as one might imagine, but yes.
I, yeah, I can imagine. Welcome, Scott. Thank you so much for making this work. How are you?
I am well. How are you both? It's nice to meet you, Sam. It's nice to see you, Nina. Thank you for having me. This is such a treat.
thank you so
It's
much for coming
our
on.
yeah, we're so, so happy to have you here. Now, we've introduced you as a poet and an ex-bookshop runner.
Okay.
But I wonder if you're okay with that title. Would you prefer avid reader, or we've come up with the title Book Slag, which is not for you, it's for us. We are part of the Book Slag Club. You're welcome
Yeah.
to join it. But yeah, how would you describe yourself?
Oh gosh. All those things and more, I think. When I first started writing as a very young Scot, a very young person, was first drawn to poetry, and I've always thought of myself as a poet first. But I do write all sorts of things, um, and books are just, well, as you can see, like just part of my life, and they kind of go hand in hand. There's not a separation really between them.
Yeah, very, very clear. So you mentioned that you wrote poetry from a young Scot. Do you want to tell us a little bit about, we'd love to know a bit of both your reading journey and your
Yeah.
writing journey, where it started. I'm sure the two are connected. Why don't you paint us a picture?
Okay. Reading journey and writing journey. I don't, I didn't grow up in a house um, overflowing with books, but books, I really can't go back to a time when I don't remember, uh, books around me, I suppose. In fact, when I was very young, maybe 7, in the first grade in Greenville, South Carolina, I remember there was a small single bookshelf hung over my bed, which may not be the best place for a little bookshelf, but one day it fell off the wall and landed on me. And of course, it was the shock of it that was most upsetting. I wasn't really injured, but certainly upset. And so, even that didn't make me turn away from books. And I remember a few books on that shelf, which I still have, which is crazy. And one of them was Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day by Judith Viorist, which is just such a wonderful, wonderful book. And my mother would
No,
read it to me.
brilliant, right?
Yeah, my mom would read it to me when I was having a hard time, as a little first grader. And so, um, and I still have that copy, which is amazing. Yeah.
That is
Um,
amazing.
yeah, and the writing journey really probably began from the beginning as well. I mean, it's hard to sort of pinpoint when these things take root or take hold in us, but I certainly remember a very influential fourth grade teacher. I would have been 10. It was Ms. Flaherty. I have no idea if she's still with us, but she just sort of made both reading and writing like just so humid, so relatable, so joyous, so funny and fun. And she introduced our class to wonderful writers like Betsy Byers and Ellen Raskin and Shel Silverstein and Jack Prelutsky. And how much fun was that? And so we wrote our first poems in that class. And it was 2 years later, probably in the sixth grade, probably at 12 or so, that I really decided that I was a poet and began writing in earnest really sad poems. And so the sad poems started then and continue to this day.
You found
Isn't
your
it?
genre. Clearly.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so gorgeous how much like impact a teacher can have. Like I saw something the other day and it really is like they are the foundation of everything that we are.
Yes. Yes. No, it's so
Yeah.
true, and it's and they're always undersung and under resourced and underappreciated. So if Yeah, I just, I think back to some of those teachers, and I have, as an adult, reached back to some who are still alive, and that's been really moving and touching to do that, to just let people from past me, past life me, know what an impact they made and how
Mm.
they still occupy my mind.
And that in
Yeah,
itself
that's
is poetry.
absolutely, yeah. So, so important, isn't it? So I'm so keen to get to books the books for what ails you, but I think maybe we could just travel a little bit further in time and just talk about the books, the poetry, the authors. You've mentioned some of them that the teacher introduced you to.
Mm.
In terms of the different Scots and the different eras of your time, of your life, what stands out for you in terms of works and authors and things like that?
Oh, it's such a hard question, especially, I mean, I'm sure that you both are lifelong readers and are still exploring and still finding, but there are writers who along the way struck me as particularly special, or perhaps it was that, something that they were doing or trying to do on the page was hitting me at a particular moment, in a particular time. um, and those sort of book eras, they're like love affairs, that last a certain period of time. And but in the French sense, it's like, okay, well, when they end, and that's fine, and you move on to the next author.
Yeah.
um, but
Yeah.
I think when I was, quite young, like a teenager, I became besotted with writers like Willa Cather and E.M. Forster. And then later in my 20s, I remember um, reading everything by Mary Oliver and Maya Angelou, who I know you've spoken with, or spoken about rather, on your previous lives. And then later, late 20s and 30s, although actually still, maybe still, I was obsessed with Annie Dillard and couldn't get enough of her essays. Her book, which is a very slim book, I think it's about 75 pages. It's called Holy the Firm. It's really a long essay, and it's a book that I think about all the time. It's a book that sort of looks at or teases out the question that all of us have, which is why why do we suffer? Why is there, how do you balance the good in life with the suffering that we witness as well? And it's a really important book, and I think it actually could speak to our times now in a way that very few things are speaking. And then the last writer I'll mention now, but is Jamaica Kincaid, who, oh my goodness, I mean, these all of these writers are people I just devoured, absolutely devoured, and Jamaica Kincaid was one. She and Maya Angelou are the only two that I ever saw in person read and perform and read in the case of Maya Angelou. And Jamaica Kincaid, I saw her read once, and what a, yeah, just absolutely amazing writer. And she's one who, I don't know if either of you have read her books, but she's someone who in her fiction at least, continues to kind of rework the same questions and problems. And in that sense, she's a writer's writer, because if you start at the beginning uh, of her career in fiction and you read through, you really get a sense of how she's working out questions and problems. In particular, the relationship between herself and her mother, which she really struggles with. And so, in a way, even though she's writing fiction, it's one of these kind of, you know, um, she's one of these writers who's already writing in a potentially hybridized form, or maybe it's autobiographical fiction. But anyway, these are some of. I could go on for hours, and I won't.
Please do.
Oh
They're
goodness, no,
amazing.
we absolutely, yes. Thank you. This is so, so rich. Can we just pause for a minute though?
You met
Can
Maya
I just
Angelou.
check that this means, yeah, does this mean that we are 1 degree of separation from Maya Angelou, because we're now talking to you who actually met and heard her before? Because I
Oh,
just need a moment if that is the case.
well, I unfortunately I did not meet her. I mean, in my book career, I met and introduced and so many writers, and celebrities too, because unfortunately celebrities write books. But she was not one I met, but I did get to see her perform and read 2 times. And I remember the first time I was quite young. I was still in high school. I was perhaps maybe 16, yeah. And it was in a big, ugly gymnasium, at a local university. And I just remember bodily shaking, like as a reaction to um, what she was sharing and reading and telling, and it was so visceral. It was almost like church, but it was a different kind of church, right? It was
Hmm.
a secular and humanist and beautiful and all-encompassing church. And I decided that day that that was the church to which I wanted to belong.
I love
This
that
is what
so
church should
deeply.
be. Where do we sign up?
No,
That's
no.
incredible. Scott, that, yeah, what a response, what an experience,
Hmm.
what a reaction, what a moment. And also, sometimes they say you shouldn't meet your heroes, and it sounds like she did not disappoint, just in terms of her very presence, let alone what she was reading and
Hmm.
writing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think she probably would not have disappointed had we met her as well. I think she was a consummate host. I don't know if you have ever read her 2 little slim books that she wrote that are sort of outside of her series of autobiographies. One of them is called Wouldn't Take Nothing for My Journey Now. And she writes these little mini essays about, you know, all kinds of things, really. One of them is quite moving, about just sort of, even with very little money and resources, keeping just the upkeep of the interior and the exterior of a space or a home, um, reveals to others a certain pride, a certain care, and she writes about being just a consummate host, cooking and feeding others, caring for others. And she wrote a cookbook as well, which you may know, which
Did
has lots
she?
of delicious recipes in it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I know what I want for Christmas now.
Now, life is so fast paced and we often miss a lot of things. What has poetry taught you about slowing down and paying attention to everything around you and just within you?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I think poetry is or can be inherently uh, like um, it is such a mindful act, both to read and to write poetry, to notice the smallest details, and to tease them out. What is it about this speck of dust that is, like, and it really is. It's really a way of practicing. I think poetry is a great kind of mindful practice. I think, whether you're writing for yourself or writing for others. And I think a lot of the poets that I most admire are, or most enjoy reading, are poets who really work at making the ordinary extraordinary. And I think that's, there are many different schools of poetry, and there's many different ways of approaching poetry. Poetry is all encompassing, and it's not one thing. But for me, I really I kind of think of poetry as a place to make sense of things. So that is, it's a nice quiet place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautifully put. I
absolutely.
couldn't say that better. Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
thanks.
sanctuary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It
yeah.
is.
I mean, that say there
Absolutely.
are, like, performance poets, and there are all kinds of poems and poetry. Poetry can contain within it such emotion and anger, um, and a drive and a will for change. It can be all kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe we stay with poetry for now then. And I think what we were trying to do last week was just begin to have this conversation just to make sure that it feels accessible. Because the way you're talking about it, Scott, and you, Sam, it's so inclusive, and that's as it should be. It shouldn't feel like a riddle, that is, yeah, difficult for the sake of being difficult or cerebral. Quite the opposite. And of course, it can be clever, but I think it's incredibly important for people to feel like they can own it and identify with it. You have been on such a journey in the last year or so, maybe 2 years now, with your poetry, and we have been reading Sad Gay Divorce with joy, unfortunately, not with very much sadness, because they're just so fantastic, Scott. And we were talking about our favourite ones, but I am going to repeat the ones that I've read so far that I absolutely love. I mean, they're all brilliant. They really, really, really are. But my favourites so far are Smoke Signals, Mouthfeel, Don't Ask, Don't Tell, Good Sport, the rest of the poem, Bloodlines, Sustainable Tears, and Write a Poem Already, which I think is just a great title.
Yeah.
You liked a couple of those as well, didn't you?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
two favourites
So,
was Don't Ask, Don't Tell and the rest of the poem.
Mm.
I loved those two.
yeah. Yeah. So it's a bit about this project, how it came about. It feels so epic now, and what is the journey that you've been on with Sad Gay Divorce poems?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's really kind. It started as an idea in the shower. I mean, all good ideas come from the shower.
So
Uh,
true.
I was, it was the end of a 19-year relationship for me and a marriage, and um, I was starting fresh. Still am in many ways, and looking at. Nina's gone fuzzy. I don't know if. Can you
Oh,
hear me okay?
I can hear you okay.
I
Okay.
can
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good, good.
Perfect.
me.
Just making sure it wasn't me again.
No, not you. We're all
um,
good.
so thank you. Yeah, so it was, I thought, well, it wasn't intended really to be an act of catharsis or even an act of healing. It really was a way, again, of sort of teasing out the incredible mixed bag of emotions at the end of a nearly 2-decade long, relationship, and unpicking it, unpacking it, looking at the funny bits, the tragic bits, and seeing what was there. And so the initial idea from that shower was to write 100 poems over the course of a year. So it was a year-long project. 2 a week were posted on Substack. And, and the other thing that I would say about the project is that all along I was, sometimes as a writer, like we think about the reader who's on the other end of things. And in this instance, well, I mean, perhaps we should. I mean, but in this instance, and for this project, I really that reader kind of in a way didn't exist because the reader was me. I was really kind of writing them to myself, and I was thrilled that I had some readers along the way, and I'm so touched by the things you said, and also that you liked a few of them because um, I think a few of them are okay. I mean, and that's the thing
Many
with a
of them,
mixed
all of them.
bag of 100 poems. Some are going to be, and I will say that I wrote all of them for the project. They were born of that journey of healing over the course of that year. There were some days I posted on Mondays and Thursdays, to space it out. And there were some Thursday mornings and I would wake up and I would have nothing. Absolutely nothing, and I'd have to just pour, crack open my heart and pour it onto the page or the Microsoft Word page, um, and get something out. And in other cases, I worked on and honed a particular poem for weeks and weeks and weeks until I felt it was ready and then sent it out. So the poems arrived in different ways and they were worked on in different ways. And in a few instances, there was that like amazing moment of that gift or that moment of grace when a poem just seemed to land in my lap and it just, just came out and felt mostly formed, and that was amazing. If you've ever had that happen, it's an amazing feeling. But yeah, so I'm thrilled. I don't know where the project is going next. I'd love for it to become a book. I've been looking at and applying for some fellowships, and just trying to kind of feel out in what other form or forms can this project take. On the other hand, because it is a project that is dealing a lot with grief and loss, um, there may be a point at which I kind of have to put it to bed in order to just move on, if that makes sense. So right now I'm sort of putting out feelers and trying things. Recently, one of the poems from the project that was unpublished, I just posted it recently, Monday, I think. Um, it's called Obligatory Sex Poems. So if you go to Sad Gay Divorce Poems, it's the first one you'll see now on Substack. But that was longlisted in a New Writers Poetry Prize. Actually, it was a 100 um, word limit prize, and people could submit anything, prose or poetry, or and so that was lovely that at least it resonated with some readers.
That's amazing.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, huge
Thank
congratulations, Scott. And fingers crossed that it finds a home because it's really
Yeah.
great. And actually, you mentioned grief and loss, and I understand why personally it would be important to not just stay in that space. However, that's a universal experience, if ever there was one. And so
Yeah.
I think I can imagine that's why so many people have resonated with
Hmm.
this gorgeous project. It's really
you.
wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, no, you're right. So many of the comments, so much of the feedback um, has actually surprised me in a way by how deeply moved some people are by my silly, sad gay divorce poem. Like you don't think that, but there are, these things are universal. We all lose what we love somewhere along the way.
It's the power of poetry.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
100%. Yeah. Now you're going to read some poetry for us in a little while, but we have to go ahead and get to Books for What Ails You. Your
Yeah.
beautiful, gorgeous little bookshop that you ran on Wood Street, in Wood Street Market, the indoor market. Please tell us about that experience. We're just so excited to speak to a bona fide, real bookshop owner. Like, wow, that's the dream, is it?
Well, that's a good question, is it? When I was struggling to connect earlier to the Instagram Live, I overheard you're both speaking about, the dream, especially you, Sam. It would be the dream to open a shop,
Yeah.
uh, and I think that it for me wasn't the dream, which is interesting. I had worked in books and book selling and a little bit of publishing. For most of my adult life. In fact, I first started selling books at my local independent bookshop when I turned 16 as an after school and weekend job, a job for which I have my mother to thank, because she was a force of nature. She died last week, a week ago today. But she pushed her way into that shop and got me a job, um, and it was the beginning of my unanticipated, unplanned for book career. And you know, I've done just about everything that one can do in that world. I've, opened flagship shops. I've been a book buyer for shops. I've been an events coordinator. I've run literary festivals and series and readings. And I've worked in independent bookshops and for indie chains in 3 countries, in the US and in Canada and in the UK. So then this thing called COVID happened, if we remember that. And then I just didn't know what I wanted to do next. I had done, I kind of wanted to do my own thing. And I was thinking about stationery initially. I'd done a certificate at the British Library's Business and IP, Intellectual Property Center, which still exists. And I would highly recommend their courses and workshops and events that they have around creating a startup or a small business. They're a really wonderful resource. So I did that just before the pandemic, still a little bit unsure. And then in the COVID years, I kind of thought, okay, I'm going to try my own thing, but I just couldn't leave books. Like, I mean, they won't leave me alone. So I thought, why not? The Wood Street Indoor Market was just a really ideal spot. The barrier to entry was low, being an indoor market with little discrete shops within it. There weren't things like, it was so small, my little tiny shop, that I didn't even pay business rates because there wasn't enough, space. It was that tiny, and the insurance was handled. I had my limited liability, but the insurance for the building and such were managed by the market itself, and so it just made it possible to start something like this. So it turned into it was a almost 3-year adventure, and every moment was just a joy. The one caution that I'd have, like, when I hear the waxing eloquent about what it would feel like to have and run a bookshop, is that it is, and I think this is true probably for any sole trader, solo entrepreneur, or person just starting any kind of business, but it was more than a full-time endeavor. I ate it, I slept it, I dreamed it. It just occupied all of my thoughts, waking and sleeping, and I loved that, because I love a deep dive, I love an immersion, and I poured my whole heart and soul and being into it. And so it was this beautiful relationship over those 3 years. And in fact, I joked from time to time that the shop was like a physical manifestation of my id, because I was operating on such a gut level all of the time. I was using all of that accrued kind of knowledge, experience, and I was just throwing everything at it, but it was all me. It looked like my home. It was, filled with bric-a-brac and antiques, on top of
Yeah.
which were books. It was colorful and weird. And um, and so it was a total reflection of me. And that was, I think, it was odd, like a little odd, but it was also amazing, amazing. And then the last thing that I'll say is that it was just an like never ending pleasure, day to day, to kind of come into contact not only with huge variety of people, amazing customers, amazing local authors in that part of London, Nina among them, and so just so many great people that I got to meet. And now that it's been gone for a couple of years, which is crazy to think about, I carry with me really so many friendships from that experience. And what a pleasure, what an absolute pleasure. Yeah, so I have all good feelings for it. Hashtag no regrets. But um, yeah, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work.
It does
Absolutely.
sound like the
Backstage.
absolute most like haven of a place though. And I'm so gutted I never got to visit it, but I've seen the pictures and I've imagined I'm in there.
Good,
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
it
Well,
was
that's
an incredibly sweet place.
oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, my mother not to she never got to visit either, but she said, "Oh, I just
Mhm.
wish I could come and have a cup of coffee and sit with you in the shop." And um so it had that people had that feeling about it even if they didn't get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it sounds like she started this entire journey
Uh-huh.
by stepping in there and getting you your first job and putting you on this incredible trajectory. So,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely wonderful to hear her involvement in it from the beginning, and
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
how special
Yeah.
that is as well. Yeah.
you.
Well,
100%.
I think maybe it might be time for some poetry, Scott. How are you
Yeah.
feeling about reading some?
I'd love to. I don't know if you well, I've picked a couple that
Yes,
in
please.
they're not among the titles that you said that you liked. So these are the ones that you hated. Um,
It may be the ones we didn't get round to reading, because I
I
will
would,
admit I didn't get through all 100. So it might be the ones that we are going to love now.
Uh-huh.
Let's say that.
no, I'm only teasing. Um, and if there are any that I mean, I know this isn't a poetry reading, but I just thought I can read two if that's all right.
Yes.
And then if you want me to do more, um, I am like a monkey. I do perform. Uh, okay, the light's a bit weird now. Um, so this one is called Assassins. I thought divorce would kill me, like eating too many pink peppercorns, or clunking down the basement stairs, every step a little fall. I thought to trust the air to hold me, tried my darndest not to sneeze, for death is closest then, waiting for your eyes to slim and mouth to form a wary O. Be wary of bananas. To die, it takes 400 or so. There are so many ways to go, like stabby words or stinky eyes or innocuous love bites.
Mm,
Okay.
absolutely love that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I love it.
That
Assassins was that one.
was Assassins, yes.
Oh, I love that one.
Thank you.
I do.
Um, this was, it was just surprising where, you know, where humor surfaced in the grieving process, and I'm sure that you can relate. It's like when you're laughing through tears, or you're you know often laugh inappropriately at funerals. For example, like there's like a moment at which everything seems absurd, and I think
Yeah.
it's the absurdity that surprised me in this project, that sort of surfaced, that rose above the grief.
Yeah. And I would say too about that, I think often, like in those moments of pain and grief, the best kind of humor comes out, which is dark humor. And that's so what you kind of harness beautifully in that. And second of all, I often, yes, of course, it's super awkward and difficult when people laugh in those inappropriate moments, but it's often kind of an affirmation of life as well. And I think that that laughter and that humor is really an affirmation of life when we're feeling those deaths, all those losses, all those endings. And it's that brilliantly in that poem.
Mm, yeah, that's so beautifully put. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Um,
Let's have another.
hey, poem number 2 is this. This one's a prose poem. So again, the project found me writing all kinds of things in all kinds of forms. Um, the more formal ones were a kind of new formalism, a kind of self-created constraint, I suppose. And then there was lots of free verse, but this is a prose poem. It's called Longer Than Wide. There's a house on Logan Circle in Washington, D.C. that was cut in half, straight down the middle, when the couple who lived there divorced. As every good real estate agent knows, marriage is architecture. There's hardly anyone middle-aged who doesn't wish to be slimmer. So now there are 2 svelte houses, painted afresh and talk of the town. Like memories of happier times, they're longer than wide. Like bored guests at a cocktail party, they stand for what feels like forever, side by side, smiling wanly, waiting to catch another's eye, to beg the other's pardon.
Love
Wow.
that.
Oh my goodness.
I could listen for
Absolutely.
hours.
Yeah.
It's a true
Yeah.
story,
I can see.
actually. This house does exist. Yeah, I lived nearby when I
Really?
lived there. Yeah, in DC.
And it had been split in two when they divorced, is that right?
Right, a wall put down the
I
middle.
love
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
absolutely brilliant. It's such a clever exploration in the personification of two houses. So I love that.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely brilliant.
Thank
Well,
you.
I wonder, Scott, if we can maybe, Sam, what do you think out of the ones that we love the best? Why don't we choose one? Which were the two that we really
Ooh,
liked?
Oh, the one
okay.
mentioned the end of the poem twice, didn't you?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
end of the
Shall we,
poem,
shall
don't ask, don't tell,
yeah,
them too.
yeah, yeah. So why don't you pick whichever of those two you would like to read the most, Scott?
Okay, let's see. Um, it's funny. I don't. I mean, it's funny how I don't remember. Oh, is it the rest of the poem? Is that it?
The rest of
The
the
rest of the
poem, yeah.
poem.
See, I don't even remember what I wrote. This is great. Um, okay, interesting. Well, let's try that. Let's try that one.
Let's do
Okay.
that when you're
Um,
ready.
well, this one was posted on the 12th of February this year, which wasn't that long ago. But
No?
anyway, the mind is a weird thing, isn't it? Um, okay, the rest of the poem. You're not angel or devil on my narrow shoulders. There's no more carrying the weight of a duo. You're not comfort or cage of big arms around me. I've not made you a god, you're too deeply flawed. But a guru you were, to whom I put questions. But it's time that you left and took your old relics. There is no great hurry, the way will be shown. When you're ready to go, just hitch up your thumb. There's a gap in the tree line where the sun rises, where the rest of the poem doesn't need writing. Hmm.
I think it's so
Absolutely.
clever.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
So
agree.
clever. And like that you're too deeply flawed, but a guru you were to whom I put questions. Like
Mm.
I read that
I
and my
love
jaw
that.
dropped to the floor.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, that's so nice. Thank you. Thank you.
absolutely.
This really makes me think of my ex-husband when as I'm reading this. Like the others, I mean, it's funny how some of them were, you know, just much more personal in a way, or they really like get you or get me in the gut. And I think this is one. This is it speaks to kind of that, yeah, that kind of meditative practice of yeah, of kind of and letting go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, it's direct address, so you're kind of speaking directly to him. And
Mm,
second of all, I agree with Sam. It's so clever, but it's also really wise. You know, like I know
Hmm.
that I'm guilty of making a real villain out of my exes, and you know, some of them are. Let's be honest, but you know, I think there's so much more nuance and humanity there, and a real
mhm,
sense of, you know, when we are in relation with people, you know, what we then do to them, you know, in terms of how they, yeah, represent us in arms. And you've explored that so simply and so fully and so wisely in that. So yeah,
Agreed.
huge achievement, Scott.
thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Not at all. Thank you for sharing that. And I think it's the first time we've had live from themselves. So thank you for being the first. We're very first time readers. Now we have two little that we would.
Oh, I think she's frozen.
Yeah, she was
Little
going in
segment
and
with you. Hello. Yeah.
Oh,
Am I
Scott.
freezing?
oh,
Yeah,
Is it me that's
I think,
freezing?
yeah, I think you're back now.
back, you're back.
Oh, I'm so sorry, everybody. I thought it was all your fault. I thought I was frozen. I was like, what's up with their internet? It's rubbish. No, it's me. Sorry, everybody.
No,
Yes. First of all, I was singing your praises and saying how brilliant that poem was and how accomplished.
yeah,
And also that we have these two segments that we would like to do with you. And the first
Yes.
one is a brilliant idea that Sam came up with. Well, why don't you introduce it? Why don't you tell us about it, Sam?
The bookish dinner party. So the premise is that if you were able to have a bookish dinner party with 9 other people, literary, maybe they're book lovers, maybe they're poets, maybe they're authors, um, what other 9 people would be at your table with you?
yeah. It's so hard, so hard. I mean, it goes back to something I said earlier, which is that in my book career, I got to meet so many writers and people who write books, many of whom aren't with us anymore. You know, people like Doris Lessing or Joan Didion, people, yeah, just so I was trying to think about because someone was kind enough to let me know that this might be asked in advance. And so I was trying to think about this in terms of picking writers who I never had the chance to meet or
Hmm.
cross paths with. And one I was thinking about was a writer who's still with us, who's British and French, Michelle Roberts. I don't know if you know her. She
No.
writes across genres, fiction, nonfiction memoir. She writes poetry and essays. She is a little like a force to be reckoned with. She's such an amazing live reader. I've seen her read once. I was thinking of the Welsh gay writer Tom Wakefield, who was
Mm.
really important to me when I was a young, burgeoning gay man. He died quite a long time ago, and is really forgotten now. I don't think any of his books are in print. Someone needs to reprint them, please. One of his novels is called The Variety Artists or Artistes. There's the E at the end of artist, and it's set in a kind of a convalescent, you know, home or a care home, and it's so touching and moving. Really beautiful work along the lines. I mean, I think he's as good as, oh, I don't know. I mean, he makes me think of Elizabeth von Arnim or Barbara Pym. He has this real sense of humanity about his writing, and his other novels, he deals more directly with gay men and gay relationships, but that sense of humanity never leaves his work, which is great. Um, there's an um, American poet Naomi Shihab Nye, who I love her work. And she's someone who I've never met, and I just think that that would be delightful to have her as a guest. Jim Harrison is no longer with us, but um, he was an American fiction writer and poet, and he also wrote about food because he was a big gastronome. And um, his poetry is amazing, amazing poetry. His fiction's great too. He's probably most remembered for a novella that he wrote called The Legends of the Fall, which was made into a film.
Oh,
But
I have heard of that.
yeah,
Mm.
he excelled at the novella form. That was his sweet spot in fiction. And I love that too because I write short generally, like in terms of, I'm working on a kind of a mystery at the moment, and I'm really struggling with long, like words.
Yeah.
Words really bother me. Um, Judith Viorst, who I mentioned earlier, who wrote Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. She's still alive. She's in her 90s. She wears
Oh,
crazy
wow.
hats. And she went in midlife and trained to be a psychotherapist. And has written interesting books about perfectionism and loss. And so she's someone I would really love to have at my table today. um, Shirley Jackson, who I'm sure you've both read. I love her not only for her fiction, but most especially for her two wacky memoirs, the first of which is Life Among the Savages. The Savages are her family. And she, in the mid 20th century, was the breadwinner for her family. It's not that her husband was a deadbeat, it's just that she just did better. And they had, I think, four children, at least three, many children. And I just want to pick her brain a little bit. And Gary Soto, he's a Chicano American poet. He lives in the Bay Area. He's a really great poet. He's also he writes for children as well, and has won many awards in his career writing for children. Dorothy Allison, she's someone I did meet. I did introduce her at an event once, and I it was one of those cases where I fawned a little bit too much. I try to be cool, like um, but yeah, there was a little too much fawning, and I think the little hairs raised up on the. She was like, huh, who is this guy? Um, but I had to because she was born. She was from Greenville, South Carolina, where I was born, and although she was working class and had experienced great abuse as a child, including sexual abuse, and wrote about it in her fiction and nonfiction. Her wonderful book, Bastard Out of Carolina, is amazing. Her short stories are great. And she, if you ever, I mean, after everyone's done watching this, Google Dorothy Allison, two L's, find her on YouTube. She's always on panels about Southern literature and stuff. And she is hilarious. She's so erudite. She's so smart. She was always the smartest person in the room. And I just loved that for and about her. And I think that's 9, but I'm going to add Roxane Gay because I love Roxane Gay. And
What a list.
she,
Queen.
she just, like, sometimes she says things that, like kind of drive me crazy or that, like, poke me, but in the best possible way, in the way that you want someone that you love to poke you, you know?
Yeah.
And I love that about I think like when I read her, when I listen to her, I'm continually challenged to, to be better, to rethink things, to yeah, just to kind of again crack that heart open a little bit more. And I love that she's married to Debbie Millman. And Debbie might have to come to the dinner because they're wife and wife. But yeah, I don't know if you know Debbie Millman and her long standing podcast, but she's such an interesting person too. And yeah, so maybe they could share like, a, a bench seat or something.
Sure. Sure,
And
there's room. There's room.
I'd love for there to be like a bonus guest, like maybe an author whose work I haven't met yet, like because I'm always I'm always finding out about someone I didn't know of. Sometimes they're long dead, sometimes they're brand new, sometimes it's in between. Um, and there's not a day that I don't bookmark another author or like a Wikipedia page about a book or like something like that. I'm always finding this is the problem of it's just like this never ending you know wormhole that we get ourselves into.
Yeah,
And never
it's the
quite catch up with
beauty.
ourselves.
No, always an ever-growing TBR list and so many
Yeah.
books and not enough years. But we do our best. That is epic. That is a phenomenal table. And yes, of course, we'll pull up a few extra seats for all those extra guests.
People
Thank
can
you, Scott.
sit in each
So
other's laps to make it more interesting.
Yeah. Why
it'll
not?
end up that way anyway. After a few drinks.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, amazing. Well, why don't we round off with our this or that round then? Now, you
Yes.
don't know the questions, but they're just fun, light-hearted, quick-fire questions to just, get the juices flowing and get the inspiration and just get a kind of a snapshot of your reading and writing habits. So, Sam, do you want to start
Good.
us off?
Yeah. So hardback or paperback?
Oh, yeah, I think paperback generally, yeah. But um, I think maybe just for ease of travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Audiobook or physical book?
Always physical book for me. Strangely, I don't have many phobias, but I have one irrational one, and that is I cannot use headphones or earbuds. So, uh, yeah,
Dare I ask, ebook or physical book?
always physical book. Yes.
Yeah.
Loan a book or buy a book?
Oh, both. Yeah, I'm an avid library user. I live in Brighton now, and we have an amazing library. Um, and in fact, I'm reading an Ursula K. Le Guin book right now from the library. Uh, but I'm also in the middle of 17 other books that I own. So it's, yeah.
That's so real.
Yeah, and it might also answer the next question, which is
One book on the go or multiple?
It's so bad. I don't even know. I mean, I don't, yeah, it's really bad. I need help, actually. If someone could please send help, send help.
well, we have the best group for you, Scott, because that means that you are an honorary book slag
Book
like us.
slag.
So welcome.
I need to make
You are
t-shirts.
you are honored. Yeah, don't worry.
Wow.
Merch is on its way. Hold that thought. Okay,
Slag
next
bag.
question. Slag
I
bag.
love it.
Oh my goodness.
Slag
Oh my
bag.
goodness.
I
That's
need
it. We're
it.
trademarking that.
Mhm.
All right. So one POV or multiple POVs?
Oh, in books that I read or things that I write.
Oh,
Ooh,
either.
both,
You can
either.
choose. Yeah.
Mm. Um, I like, well, it depends on how adept the writer is at it. I mean, take a look at Mrs. Dalloway, for example. Like that is a master class in viewpoint and in hovering over many different minds. But then it can be done really badly, or in ways that you really struggle to keep apart the different characters. So, but I love the idea. I love the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a long answer. Sorry.
Good answer. First person or third person?
Oh, I like both. I mean, I think again, it's really it's hard as both a writer and I think as a reader. Well, yeah, as a writer to sustain um there it's you can't perform as many tricks, whilst using the first person as a writer, and it's a harder choice. But
Mhm.
again, when it's done great, it's amazing.
Romance or fantasy?
Romance always, but almost never. I mean, I'll watch romantic comedies, but I will read a few sort of books that might be categorized as romance, I suppose. But yes, probably neither most of the time. I do need to live in the when I read, I'm kind of a realist, and so I need the real world and the recognizable. I mean, I feel like once we sort that out, then I can go to fantasy, but we have some sorting to do still.
Yeah, give it a couple more weeks. It'll be fine. A bit.
Short book or a chunky book?
Hmm. So I would say I tend to read more, yeah, short to average books. I mean, books are getting, as anyone who's been paying attention to publishing, books are getting shorter. Published books, that is, published novels, and which speaks to our shortening attention spans. But I think there's nothing better though than sinking into a 400 plus page novel and getting completely lost in that world for however long it takes to read it. But I would say that typically I'm reading, a 300-page book or 250-page book. I mean, I recently read an Edouard Louis book, and those are so short. And the Annie Dillard book that I was mentioning earlier, Holy the Firm, so short. There's For me, it's more about the writing and the impact,
Yeah, 100%.
We've got a couple more. We'll do two. So we've
Okay.
got morning reader or night reader.
I'm a night reader unless I'm on the train or the plane, and then I'll read it anytime.
Snap. Fast reader or slow reader?
Oh, I am a little bit of a slow reader, in that I was trained in university to be a close reader, and I read as a writer reads, and And I really have a hard time reading bad writing or writing that's not great. So, if I'm reading, I tend to read. Uh, I mean, it's not that it's not for pleasure, and it's not that it's not enjoyable. It's just that I'm taking in every word, every punctuation mark, every line break or paragraph change. So I'm paying attention, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. And that's
And
it.
that's the end.
Thank you.
Thank you both. What a treat this has been. And I'm sorry that it took me a bit to connect at the beginning, but I'm glad it happened in the end.
Yeah,
Us
so
too.
Oh, well,
And
we
thank
are
you for
so
having me.
not at all. Thank you for sharing your poetry. Thank you for
yeah.
sharing your journey. Thank you for sharing the realities of running a bookstore with us.
Yeah.
And it has been such a rich, gorgeous conversation. So thank you again for your time.
And
Thank you
it's been
so
so
much.
lovely to meet you as well.
You too, Sam. I hope we get to meet in person one day
Hopefully
soon.
one day, yes.
And I hope to see you in person as well, Nina, one day soon. It's been
Absolutely.
too long, too long.
It has
All right.
been too.
We'll
All the
take
best, Scott.
you
Take care of yourself.
too. Take care.
Thank
Enjoy.
you.
I'm gonna
Take
leave.
care.
Okay. Bye.
Do leave. See
Bye.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Oh,
Oh, you're
bless.
so lovely.
I mean, he is the epitome of just book nerd expert.
Hmm.
Somebody who you could just talk for hours with on just like one author or
Absolutely.
something like that, and he would have so much to say. And he shared poetry and he ran a bookshop. Oh my goodness, he lived the
And
dream.
he heard Maya Angelou speak.
Yes. So he was in the same vicinity of Maya Angelou,
Which means
heard her
we were
talk.
kind of.
Yeah, it counts. It totally counts. But we
We're
are
racking them
now.
up. James Baldwin, Maya Angelou.
True. I forgot, of
Whoa.
course. 1 degree of separation from our heroes. This is absolutely
Truly.
amazing. Thank you, Beck Beck. She says, what a rich mix of people you're sharing with us. Thank you so much, Beck Beck. Thank
Thank
you,
you for
Lorna. Thank
keep
you,
coming back.
Shad. Yeah, honestly, we love the conversations that you guys have and the comments as we're having the conversation as well. It makes it so much richer. So thank you all so much.
Yeah.
Now, next week, can you believe it, will be the finale of season 3. Can you
How has it
believe
happened?
it's so bizarre. I do not know how we're here. It really, really feels, and what a journey you've been on as well this time, Sam, like
Yeah.
personally. And so we
It's been a
really
wild
appreciate you.
one.
It's been a wild one, and you guys have been on that journey with us. So we're so, so,
Yeah.
so grateful. So
So
please
grateful.
do join us for a very, very special final episode of the season. Don't worry, we'll be back. We're
We shall be
already
back.
talking about season 4, but there's something extra special that's going to be dropped next week. Oh, what was that?
What was
What could
that?
it be?
What just flew?
I'm not sure.
I don't know what that was. Who let
Now,
that
if
in?
now, if you're as intrigued as me, then you're going to have to join us next week to find out. Is that right, Sam?
You may just have to find out next week, but they could be yours.
It's a giveaway, guys.
Oh,
It's a giveaway. It's the first ever putting the world to
merch,
right merch
merch
give
giveaway.
bespoke, handmade, and it could be yours. But we're not going to say any more. You're going to have to join us next week, same
Mm-hmm.
time, same place, to find out what we've got in store, what offering Sam has
Mm-hmm.
created. All of you
And they
loyal
will be here.
followers, yeah. So we hope you'll join us for one more episode before we break for the summer. Thank you all once again. Sam, thank you as always.
Nina, thank you as always.
Pleasure. And have a great week, everyone. Lots and lots of love to you all.
So much love, guys.
Bye.
See you next week.